Nestled in the heart of the Pyrenees, Andorra's journey from obscurity to financial powerhouse is a tale that defies convention. This tiny principality, with its rugged mountains and pristine valleys, has long been a crossroads of cultures, a place where the influences of France and Spain intertwine to create a unique tapestry of tradition and innovation. But how did this microstate, barely visible on most maps, come to hold such sway over European fortunes? To understand Andorra's rise, we must first delve into its ancient roots. The country's origins are shrouded in legend, with tales of Charlemagne granting sovereignty to the Andorran people in return for their aid against the Moors. While historical accuracy may be debatable, what's certain is that Andorra's unique status as a co-principality, under the joint suzerainty of the French head of state and the Bishop of Urgell, has shaped its destiny for centuries. This peculiar governance structure provided Andorra with a degree of autonomy rare in medieval Europe. As larger nations waged wars and redrew borders, Andorra remained a peaceful enclave, its neutrality ensured by the balance of power between its two protectors. But peace alone does not build prosperity. What were the initial conditions that set Andorra on its path to financial dominance? The answer lies in its geography. Andorra's mountainous terrain, while challenging, proved to be its greatest asset. The harsh landscape fostered a spirit of self-reliance and ingenuity among its people. Cut off from major trade routes, Andorrans learned to make the most of their limited resources, developing a keen sense for opportunity that would serve them well in the centuries to come. Early challenges were numerous. Agriculture in the high valleys was difficult, forcing Andorrans to become adept at animal husbandry and to exploit the forests for timber. The isolation also bred a tight-knit community, one where trust and personal relationships were paramount, qualities that would later prove invaluable in the world of high finance. As Europe entered the modern era, Andorra found itself at a crossroads. The Industrial Revolution had transformed its neighbors, but Andorra's rugged terrain made large-scale industrialization impractical. Instead of lamenting this limitation, Andorran leaders saw an opportunity. They recognized that their country's small size and unique political status could be leveraged to create a different kind of economy. The pre-transformation scenario of Andorra was one of potential energy, like a coiled spring waiting to be released. Its population was small but resourceful, its government stable but flexible, and its location, nestled between two of Europe's largest economies, was ideal for what was to come. But what exactly was that potential? How did Andorra's leaders envision transforming their mountain home into a financial hub? The answer lies in a series of bold decisions and calculated risks that would reshape not just Andorra, but the financial landscape of Europe itself. As we stand on the brink of Andorra's transformation, we must ask ourselves, what lessons can be drawn from a nation that turned its perceived weaknesses into strengths? How does the story of Andorra challenge our assumptions about the prerequisites for economic success? The tale of Andorra's rise is more than just a curiosity of history, it's a testament to the power of vision, adaptability, and the courage to forge a unique path. As we delve deeper into the decisions and strategies that catapulted this tiny nation onto the world stage, we'll uncover insights that resonate far beyond the Pyrenean peaks. What forces were at play that allowed Andorra to seize its moment? How did a country with no natural resources, save for its breathtaking scenery, position itself at the center of European wealth? And perhaps most importantly, what can other nations, both large and small, learn from Andorra's improbable journey? As we explore these questions, we'll see that Andorra's story is not just about financial success, but about reimagining what's possible when conventional wisdom is cast aside. It's a narrative that challenges us to look beyond the obvious, to find opportunity in adversity, and to recognize that sometimes, the most powerful changes come from the most unexpected places. The stage is set, the players are in place, and the transformation of Andorra is about to begin. Brace yourself for a tale of innovation, daring, and the relentless pursuit of a vision that would turn a quiet mountain principality into a powerhouse of European finance. The transformation of Andorra from a sleepy mountain enclave to a financial powerhouse didn't happen by chance. It was the result of a series of bold, calculated decisions that reshaped the nation's destiny. At the heart of this transformation lay a visionary approach that recognized Andorra's unique position and leveraged it to maximum effect. One of the most pivotal decisions was the embrace of banking secrecy laws. Andorran leaders, keenly aware of the growing demand for financial privacy in Europe, saw an opportunity to position their country as a haven for wealth. This move was not without controversy, but it set the stage for an influx of capital that would fuel Andorra's growth for decades to come. Alongside this, Andorra made the strategic choice to maintain a low-tax environment. By offering attractive tax rates to both individuals and businesses, the Principality became a magnet for entrepreneurs and high-net-worth individuals seeking to optimize their financial positions. This policy, while criticized by some as a form of tax competition, proved to be a cornerstone of Andorra's economic strategy. But it wasn't just about banking and taxes. Andorran leaders recognized the need to diversify their economy beyond traditional sectors like agriculture and basic tourism. They embarked on an ambitious plan to develop world-class ski resorts, transforming the country into a premier destination for winter sports enthusiasts. This move not only brought in tourist dollars but also attracted investment in infrastructure and real estate, further fueling economic growth. Perhaps one of the most forward-thinking decisions was the early investment in digital infrastructure. Despite its mountainous terrain, Andorra committed to building a robust telecommunications network. This foresight positioned the country to take advantage of the digital revolution, attracting tech companies and enabling the growth of e-commerce and fintech sectors. The leadership that drove these changes was characterized by a unique blend of pragmatism and audacity. They understood that Andorra's small size, far from being a limitation, could be an asset, allowing for agility and quick decision-making that larger nations couldn't match. This mindset led to the creation of streamlined bureaucratic processes and business-friendly regulations that made Andorra an attractive place to do business. A critical turning point came with the decision to gradually open up the economy to foreign investment. Historically, Andorra had strict restrictions on foreign ownership, but leaders recognized that to truly compete on a global stage, these barriers needed to be lowered. This move, while controversial among some traditionalists, injected new vitality into the economy and brought in expertise and capital that accelerated growth. Another game-changing decision was the push for greater transparency and compliance with international financial standards. Recognizing that the days of absolute banking secrecy were numbered, Andorra proactively worked to align its practices with global norms. This strategic pivot helped maintain the country's attractiveness to legitimate investors, while shedding the more controversial aspects of its financial sector. The cumulative effect of these decisions was nothing short of revolutionary. Andorra transformed from a curiosity on the map to a serious player in European finance. But this transformation raises important questions. How did a country with no previous experience in high finance manage to compete with established centers like Switzerland or Luxembourg? What were the risks involved in this radical shift, and how were they mitigated? Moreover, the Andorran experience challenges our assumptions about economic development. Can other small nations replicate this model, or was Andorra's success the result of a unique set of circumstances? And what are the ethical implications of building an economy around financial services and tax optimization? As we delve deeper into Andorra's story, it becomes clear that its success was not just about making the right decisions, but about having the courage to make decisions that went against conventional wisdom. The leaders of Andorra didn't just adapt to change, they anticipated it and positioned their country to benefit from it. This raises another crucial question: in a rapidly changing global economy, what lessons can larger nations learn from Andorra's nimble approach to economic policy? Is there a broader lesson here about the advantages of being small and agile in a world where disruption is the norm? Andorra's journey also highlights the importance of long-term thinking in economic planning. Many of the decisions that led to its current success were made decades ago, with an eye towards future trends. In an age of short-term political cycles, how can other nations cultivate this kind of foresight? As we move forward in our exploration of Andorra's rise, we'll see how these disruptive decisions laid the groundwork for a transformation that would ripple across Europe and beyond. The stage was set, the course was charted, and Andorra was poised to leverage its unique position in ways that would astound the financial world. Andorra's ascent to financial prominence wasn't solely the result of bold decisions. It was also about identifying and maximizing its strategic resources. At first glance, Andorra seemed to lack the traditional resources associated with economic powerhouses. No vast oil reserves, no sprawling industrial complexes, no major seaports. Yet, Andorran leaders recognized that in the modern global economy, resources come in many forms. The country's most obvious asset was its stunning natural beauty. The Pyrenean landscape, with its soaring peaks and pristine valleys, had always attracted visitors. But Andorra went beyond simple tourism. It developed a world-class ski infrastructure, transforming its mountains into a lucrative resource. High-end resorts sprang up, catering to affluent Europeans seeking both recreation and discretion. This wasn't just about skiing, it was about creating an exclusive environment that appealed to the same high-net-worth individuals who might use Andorra's financial services. But perhaps Andorra's most valuable resource was its sovereignty. In a continent increasingly bound by EU regulations, Andorra's unique political status allowed it to craft policies that set it apart. This autonomy became a resource in itself, allowing Andorra to position itself as a bridge between EU and non-EU financial systems. The country's small size, once seen as a limitation, was reframed as an asset. In an era of big data and personalized services, Andorra's intimate scale allowed for a level of responsiveness and customization that larger financial centers couldn't match. Client relationships in Andorran banks weren't just accounts, they were partnerships, often spanning generations. Andorra also recognized human capital as a crucial resource. The country invested heavily in education, particularly in finance, law, and technology. This created a highly skilled local workforce capable of servicing a sophisticated financial sector. Moreover, Andorra's high quality of life and tax benefits attracted top talent from across Europe, further enriching its human resource pool. Another key resource was Andorra's reputation for stability. In a world of fluctuating markets and political uncertainties, Andorra's centuries-old institutions and steady governance became a beacon for those seeking a safe haven for their assets. This stability wasn't just political, it extended to the country's fiscal policies, with a long-standing commitment to low national debt and balanced budgets. Andorra's geographical position, once a source of isolation, was reimagined as a strategic advantage. Nestled between France and Spain, Andorra became a natural meeting point for Southern European finance. Its multilingual population, fluent in Catalan, Spanish, French, and increasingly English, made it an ideal hub for international transactions. Innovation became another critical resource. Recognizing that it couldn't compete with major financial centers in terms of volume, Andorra focused on niche financial products and services. It became a leader in areas like wealth management for ultra-high net worth individuals, specialized investment funds, and later, in emerging fields like cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. The country's compact size allowed for rapid deployment of cutting-edge technology. Andorra built one of Europe's most advanced telecommunications networks, turning the entire country into a test bed for financial technology innovations. This technological edge became a significant draw for fintech startups and established firms looking to trial new systems. But how sustainable is this model? Can a country effectively turn its entire territory into a resource for the financial sector? What are the long-term implications of basing an economy so heavily on financial services? Moreover, Andorra's transformation raises questions about the nature of resources in the 21st century. In an age where data is often called the new oil, how do we define and value national resources? Can regulatory flexibility and political stability be considered resources in the same way as natural gas or arable land? The Andorran example also challenges us to think about the ethics of resource utilization. While the country has brought prosperity to its citizens, has it done so at the expense of other nations' tax bases? Is there a moral dimension to consider when a country's primary resource is its ability to offer financial advantages, not available elsewhere? As we delve deeper into Andorra's story, we see a nation that redefined what it means to be resource-rich in the modern world. By identifying and leveraging its unique assets, Andorra transformed itself from a quiet backwater to a key player in European finance. But this transformation also serves as a case study in the changing nature of economic resources and the complex interplay between national policy, global finance, and ethical considerations in the 21st century economy. Andorra's transformation from a small, isolated principality to a significant player in European finance has had far-reaching consequences that extend well beyond its borders. The ripple effects of this tiny nation's economic strategy have been felt across the continent and, in some ways, around the world. One of the most immediate impacts has been on the geopolitical landscape of Europe. Andorra's rise as a financial center has challenged the dominance of traditional powerhouses like Switzerland and Luxembourg. This shift has forced a re-evaluation of financial policies across the continent, with many countries reassessing their own positions on banking secrecy, tax rates, and financial regulations. The Andorran model has become a topic of heated debate in European capitals, with some seeing it as a blueprint for economic revival and others viewing it as a threat to fiscal stability. The Principality's success has also had a profound effect on its immediate neighbors, France and Spain. The flow of capital into Andorra has created both opportunities and tensions. On one hand, it has stimulated cross-border trade and investment, benefiting businesses in the border regions. On the other, it has led to concerns about tax evasion and capital flight, prompting both countries to tighten their financial regulations and scrutinize cross-border transactions more closely. In the broader European context, Andorra's rise has contributed to ongoing discussions about tax harmonization within the EU. The country's low tax regime has been a point of contention, with some EU members arguing that it constitutes unfair competition. This has put Andorra at the center of debates about fiscal policy and economic sovereignty in Europe. Beyond Europe, Andorra's success has caught the attention of other small nations and territories looking to carve out their own economic niches. From the Caribbean to the South Pacific, governments have studied the Andorran model, seeking to replicate its blend of financial services, tourism, and technological innovation. This has led to a proliferation of what some economists call microfinancial hubs, small jurisdictions punching above their weight in the global financial system. The principality's focus on high-net-worth individuals and specialized financial services has also impacted global wealth flows. Andorra has become a key node in the network of global elite wealth management, influencing how and where the world's richest individuals choose to invest and store their assets. This concentration of wealth has implications for global inequality and raises questions about the role of small states in facilitating or potentially exacerbating wealth disparities. In the realm of financial technology, Andorra's early adoption and nurturing of fintech innovations have positioned it as an unexpected leader in certain niche areas. Its experiments with digital banking, blockchain, and cryptocurrency have been watched closely by financial institutions and regulators worldwide, often influencing policies and practices far beyond its borders. The country's economic model has also had a notable impact on global discussions about tax policy and financial transparency. Andorra's journey from a banking secrecy haven to a more transparent financial center has been cited in international forums as both a cautionary tale and a potential roadmap for other jurisdictions grappling with similar transitions. Environmentally, Andorra's development strategy, which balances financial services with high-end tourism, has been studied as a potential model for sustainable economic growth in mountainous regions. The country's ability to generate significant wealth without heavy industry or resource extraction has attracted interest from policymakers in similar geographic areas. But this global impact raises critical questions. Has Andorra's success come at the expense of other nations? Is its model sustainable in a world increasingly concerned with economic equality and financial transparency? How does the concentration of wealth in such small jurisdictions affect global economic stability? Moreover, Andorra's rise challenges our understanding of how small states can influence global economics. In an era of economic giants like the US and China, can microstates like Andorra continue to wield outsized influence? Or will increasing pressure for global financial regulation eventually erode the advantages that have fueled Andorra's rise? The Principality's story also forces us to confront the evolving nature of economic power in the 21st century. In a world where digital transactions and intangible assets increasingly dominate, does Andorra represent a new model of economic influence, one based not on size or natural resources, but on agility, specialization, and strategic positioning? As we continue to unravel the tale of Andorra's transformation, it becomes clear that this small nation's choices have had consequences far beyond what anyone might have predicted. Its journey from obscurity to financial, the transformation of Andorra from a quiet mountain retreat to a financial powerhouse, is perhaps best illustrated through the stark reality of numbers. These figures not only tell the story of Andorra's rise but also challenge our preconceptions about what's possible for a microstate in the global economy. Let's start with the most striking statistic: Andorra's GDP per capita. In 2023, it stood at approximately $73,000, placing it comfortably among the top 10 countries globally. This figure becomes even more impressive when you consider that just 3 decades ago, Andorra's GDP per capita was less than half of this amount. The rate of growth outpaces many larger, more resource-rich nations. The banking sector's contribution to this growth cannot be overstated. Financial services now account for approximately 20% of Andorra's GDP, a remarkable figure for a country with no historical background in finance. The total assets under management in Andorran banks have grown exponentially, reaching over €47 billion in 2023. This is more than 10 times the country's annual GDP, a ratio that surpasses many established financial centers. Andorra's transformation is also reflected in its employment statistics. The unemployment rate has consistently remained below 3%, even during global economic downturns. This is particularly impressive given that over 60% of Andorra's workforce is employed in the service sector, much of it tied to finance and high-end tourism. Tourism numbers tell another part of Andorra's success story. Despite its small size, the country welcomes over 8 million visitors annually, more than 100 times its resident population. The economic impact of this tourism is estimated at over €900 million per year, accounting for about 40% of GDP. The real estate market in Andorra provides another set of eye-opening figures. Property values have increased by an average of 6% annually over the past decade, outperforming many European markets. The luxury segment has seen even more dramatic growth, with some high-end properties appreciating by over 50% in just 5 years. Andorra's fiscal policy has been a key driver of its economic success. The country's corporate tax rate of 10% is one of the lowest in Europe, yet tax revenues have grown steadily. In 2023, government revenue exceeded €700 million, a figure that would have been unthinkable 2 decades ago. The country's digital infrastructure tells a story of rapid modernization. Andorra boasts 100% broadband coverage and was among the first countries in Europe to achieve full 5G coverage. Internet speeds average over 100 megabits per second, placing Andorra in the top 5 globally for connectivity. Perhaps one of the most surprising statistics relates to Andorra's environmental performance. Despite its economic growth, the country has maintained over 90% of its land as natural and protected areas. It has also achieved one of the highest recycling rates in Europe, at over 70%. These numbers paint a picture of a nation punching far above its weight. But they also raise questions. How sustainable is this growth? Can a country of just over 77,000 people maintain such high levels of economic performance? Moreover, these statistics challenge us to reconsider economic metrics. In a world where nations are increasingly judged by GDP and growth rates, does Andorra's success suggest we need new ways to measure economic health and sustainability? The country's low unemployment rate and high GDP per capita are enviable, but do they tell the whole story? What about income inequality, cost of living, and quality of life for all residents? Andorra's impressive tourism numbers also prompt reflection. How does a tiny nation handle an influx of visitors more than 100 times its population without compromising its environment or way of life? The growth in the financial sector is remarkable, but it also raises concerns about economic diversification. Is Andorra too reliant on banking and finance? What would happen if global regulations or economic conditions were to suddenly shift? As we digest these numbers, we're left to ponder the broader implications. Does Andorra's success provide a blueprint for other small nations, or is it a unique case that can't be replicated? And how do these impressive economic figures translate into the day-to-day lives of Andorran citizens? These statistics do more than just impress. They challenge our assumptions about economic development and the potential of small states in the global economy. They tell a story of rapid transformation, strategic planning, and the power of specialization. But they also raise crucial questions about sustainability, equality, and the true measures of national success in the 21st century. As we look back on Andorra's remarkable journey from obscurity to financial prominence, we find ourselves at a critical juncture. The lessons drawn from this tiny nation's success story offer valuable insights not just for other small states, but for countries of all sizes grappling with the challenges of the global economy. At the same time, we must cast our gaze forward. considering the future prospects and potential pitfalls that lie ahead for Andorra. One of the most striking lessons from Andorra's rise is the power of strategic specialization. By identifying its unique strengths, political autonomy, geographical position, and regulatory flexibility, and leveraging them to create a niche in the financial services sector, Andorra demonstrated that size isn't everything in the modern economy. This strategy of focusing on high-value, specialized services rather than competing in mass markets offers a blueprint for other small nations seeking to carve out their own economic niches. Another crucial lesson is the importance of adaptability. Andorra's willingness to pivot from traditional industries to finance and high-end tourism shows the value of economic flexibility. As technology continues to reshape the global economy, this ability to identify and capitalize on new opportunities will become increasingly vital for all nations, regardless of size. Andorra's success also highlights the critical role of long-term planning and vision. The country's transformation didn't happen overnight. It was the result of decades of consistent policymaking and strategic investments. This long-term perspective, often lacking in larger democracies bound by short electoral cycles, proved to be a significant advantage. However, Andorra's journey also offers cautionary tales. The country's heavy reliance on financial services and tourism exposes it to significant risks. Economic diversification will be crucial for long-term stability. How can Andorra leverage its success in finance and tourism to develop new economic sectors? Could its advanced digital infrastructure pave the way for a thriving tech industry? Looking ahead, Andorra faces several challenges. Global efforts to combat tax evasion and increase financial transparency could put pressure on its banking sector. How will Andorra navigate these changing international norms while maintaining its attractiveness as a financial center? Climate change poses another significant threat. With much of its economy reliant on winter tourism, warming temperatures could have severe implications. Can Andorra diversify its tourism offerings to become a year-round destination? Might it leverage its natural beauty and high-end infrastructure to become a leader in sustainable luxury tourism? The country's small population and limited domestic market also present ongoing challenges. To sustain its growth, Andorra will need to continue attracting foreign talent and investment. But how can it do so without diluting its unique cultural identity? Technological disruption presents both opportunities and risks. Andorra's early embrace of digital currencies and blockchain technology positions it well in the fintech revolution. But as these technologies evolve, can Andorra maintain its edge? Could it become a global hub for cryptocurrency and blockchain innovation? Geopolitical shifts will also play a crucial role in Andorra's future. As the European Union evolves and global power dynamics shift, how will Andorra maintain its delicate balance between autonomy and cooperation with larger neighbors? The lessons from Andorra's success story extend beyond economics. They challenge us to rethink our assumptions about the role of small states in the global system. In an interconnected world, can microstates like Andorra serve as laboratories for economic and social innovation, testing ideas that might be too risky for larger countries to implement? As we project into the future, we must also consider the ethical dimensions of Andorra's model. How can the country balance its economic interests with global responsibilities? Can it develop a form of ethical finance that provides the benefits of privacy and efficiency without enabling tax evasion or financial crimes? Andorra's journey offers a compelling case study in the potential for small nations to achieve outsized influence in the global economy, but it also serves as a reminder that success brings its own challenges. As Andorra navigates the complexities of the 21st century economy, it will need to draw on the same innovation, adaptability, and foresight that fueled its initial rise. The story of Andorra is far from over. As we look to the future, we see a nation poised at a crossroads, facing challenges that will test its resilience and ingenuity. The decisions made in the coming years will not only shape Andorra's destiny but may also offer valuable lessons for nations around the world grappling with the complexities of the global economy. Will Andorra continue to defy expectations, or will the very factors that fueled its rise present insurmountable challenges? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world will be watching closely.